Hi guys, how are you? Anyway, we have a good year, everyone, a good year, the Jewish New Year. We have an interesting article here that I found in the, this is the June 25th, 2010 article of the Jewish Week by Jonathan Marks, Our Town, YIVO's Europe. This is, they have a new website where you'll be able to look in and see various historical things about the Jews of Eastern Europe. I'll start reading in a minute this very interesting article here. At the start here. Emmanuel, we're going to also be showing you the website. We're going to be showing you the website in a minute also. Anyway, this is where we go. Emmanuel Ringelbaum, no Jewish Eastern Europe, the way stage manager in Our Town, knew Grover's Corners. The Tevye era was modern for Ringelblum, whose doctorate was on the Jews of Warsaw. The Tevye era means the Tevye, the dairyman, that's the fiddler on the roof. So that's like the 1800s to the 1920s. That's the Tevye era. Was modern for Ringelblum, whose doctorate was on the Jews of Warsaw. He got a doctorate on the Jews of Warsaw, only up to 1527. Surely he could tell you the legend of Estherke, the beautiful Jewish mistress of King Casimir in the 1300s, who seduced His Majesty into granting favors for Estherke's people who moved along the rivers, across the farmlands, into the forests of Central Europe. Living in the 1930s, the Indian summer of Polish history, Ringelblum, a writer and historian for both YIVO and the Joint Distribution Committee, was as besotted as the old king with Estherke's mythical Yiddish children. There was nothing about Yiddishkeit that didn't fascinate and intrigue him. And when Ringelblum ended up on the sorry side of the Warsaw Ghetto walls, he created the secret Einig Shabbos group, dedicated to documenting the end of the story as he once tried to document the beginning. Einig Shabbos not only reported on the ghetto's daily fate, but was intent on preserving every proof of life. The theater flyers, Yiddish candy wrappers, rabbinic ghetto responsa, the games of children, poetry, memory, until the night when they buried it all in metal boxes and later in milk cans in the hope that, what? Would there be any Jews left alive to care or to find it? In fact, some of it was never found at all. Now this month, he was talking about June 25th, 2010. That's the writer Jonathan Marks. Now this month, very much in the spirit of Einig Shabbos and its posthumous victory, YIVO has launched its online YIVO Encyclopedia of Jews in Eastern Europe, www.YIVOencyclopedia.org, and an expanded and completely free version of the $400 print edition published by Yale University Press in 2008. Why don't you show that paper, where we show YIVOencyclopedia.org? Here, this over here. Show that. Oh wait, over here we're showing you the where you can get it online. YIVOencyclopedia.org. The print edition had more than 1,800 entries. The easy-to-navigate online edition not only has expanded the list of articles, though not enough, but along with the Ringelblum under R and how it all ended under H. The encyclopedia has added 1,400 media items, rarely if ever seen before. You can see a lot of things you've never seen before here. It's a very good source. Here is the proof of beautiful lives, the closest we'll ever come to primary sources of memory. 40 audio recordings, Yiddish musical theater, davening, klezmer bands, even excerpts from wedding services and Badchan jester routines. 70 video clips of outdoor markets, urban and shtetl scenes, brass bands, schools and summer camps, and 192 documents, letters, and notes from the greatest Yiddish writers, historical figures such as Leon Trotsky, ration cards from the ghetto, and dozens of photographs and holiday cards, almost as if written from your great-grandparents to the children they never met. Unfortunately, most of the documents are in Yiddish or Russian with only the barest English summary. There is a photo of a synagogue's courtyard, a shulhof that looks so inviting it'll make you wish you went to that shul just so you could walk out of it. That's the shul courtyard, a shulhof. Even the encyclopedia articles have a terrific Yiddish quality. For example, the entry talk, quote-unquote talk, is not about what a speech therapist might know, but about what is arguably the Jewish national pastime. The stories, the blessings, the curses and the clever, the schmoozing, the sheer joy in an endless summer Shabbos of it. Likewise, the entry on, quote, memory has nothing to do with a sector of the brain, but with the mystery of us. We're introduced to a passage from 1894 in the birth pangs of not only Zionism, but Yiddish and Hebrew literature and the upheavals of migrations by the great Shalom Yankov Abramovich, a.k.a. Mendele Mocher Svarim, looking with a wink at the state of Jewish heroism on the cusp of what turned out to be the most heroic Jewish century of all. Quotes, dukes, governors, generals, and soldiers we were not. We didn't fight duels. We didn't dance the quadrille at balls. We didn't hunt wild animals in the fields and forests. We didn't make voyages of discovery to the ends of the earth. We carried on with no actresses or prima donnas. In short, we were completely lacking in all those colorful details that grace a story and whet the reader's appetite, end quote. And yet, we learned that there were 99 Orthodox shuls in Minsk, but only 3 were Hasidic. We learned that outrageously expensive weddings did not begin in America. Quote, so elaborate did some wedding celebrations become that Jewish communal authorities imposed sumptuary regulations to rein in lavish excesses, or at least their display. End quote. Browsing, the heart keeps returning to the amateur, quote-unquote, home movies, the home movies. Some less than a minute long, but as enchanting as a firefly for those fleeting seconds. Watch snippets of a film taken in the 1930s by Gustav Eisner, an American Jewish travel agent of an outdoor fish market in Lodz. Or what looks like a cold day with all the men in overcoats and caps. A man reaches into a barrel and pulls out a flopping fish. Who was Orel Morse? In 1935, a tourist in Poland. He shot several minutes of video in Krakow. A horse-drawn carriage flip-flops through the mostly empty streets. A young woman wears a short-sleeved belted dress on a sunlit day as she looks down the block, perhaps waiting for a friend. It makes you wonder, are the Jews we see today in Riverside Park or in the shadows of the Brooklyn train trestles any less beautiful, any less poignant? Morse goes to a more crowded part of town. The buildings have the ornate architecture of an earlier time. The men are modern, elegant, in pinched collars and ties, carrying rolled-up papers. A man holds a child by the hand. A man passing a kiosk turns and takes a quick glance at 20 uniformed men marching in the street. A trolley comes from the other direction. A moment in time, 1935. Of course, like a Hollywood film that opens with a gun being loaded, you watch knowing what is coming, wanting to warn or kiss goodbye every person on screen. The casual tourist turns his camera to Krakow's medieval Wawel Castle. 4 years later, this tourist attraction becomes the local Nazi headquarters. A Stalin-era clip from 1929 shows the building of wooden homes along a river in Birobidzhan. Filmed by an academic expedition from Brigham Young University of all places. Unfortunately, the encyclopedia is dimmed by errors. We're told that Moses died on the 10th of Tevet, when every child in Cheder would have known without looking it up that Moses died on Adar 7, the 7th of Adar. If you're planning to look up your grandparents' hometowns, you may be disappointed.